I'd also like to ask a question about, since this is 420, as Senator Chuck Schumer said from the Senate floor, he called it the unofficial American marijuana holiday. And he said that he now supports legalizing marijuana on a national level. Is this something that President Biden would support?
Well, the president supports leaving decisions regarding legalization for recreational use up to the states, rescheduling cannabis as a Schedule II drug so researchers can study its positive and negative impacts. And at the federal level, he supports decriminalizing marijuana use and automatically expunging any prior criminal records. He also supports legalizing medicinal marijuana. So that's his point of view on the issue.
So if the House and Senate pass a bill legalizing marijuana at a federal level, would the president sign it?
Well, I just have outlined what his position is, which isn't the same as what the House and Senate have proposed, but they have not yet passed a bill. Go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, one final question, if I could. Some people in prison on marijuana charges are asking President Biden to keep his campaign promise and release them. Where is President Biden on keeping that campaign promise?
Well, I think when I'm talking about rescheduling cannabis as a Schedule II drug, so that is also going to have an impact on the criminal justice system as well.
Quick follow-up question on something you were asked yesterday, and then a second somewhat related question.
Okay.
Regarding yesterday, I feel like you didn't give quite a firm answer, and I wanted to try again.
Okay.
You were asked whether President Biden will honor his Democratic primary campaign pledge to release, quote, everyone in prison for marijuana. People are skeptical that he will. President Biden is personally responsible for sending some people to prison for life for marijuana under his 1994 crime bill. And Vice President Kamala Harris oversaw 1,900 marijuana convictions as San Francisco District Attorney. So will President Biden honor his commitment to release everyone in prison for marijuana?
Well, I think what I did yesterday is reiterated what his position on marijuana was, decriminalizing, rescheduling, and certainly legalizing medical marijuana. What you're asking me is a legal question, and now we're in government, and so I had to follow up with our legal team, and I don't have any additional information quite yet.
Regarding rescheduling, that wouldn't necessarily release anyone from prison. Schedule II has fentanyl and cocaine. You can't.
That's right. It addresses things moving forward, though, which is important and important to many advocates.
Should people in prison for marijuana who are asking President Biden to honor his pledge to release them, should they expect to be released, or are they going to serve life in prison for marijuana?
Well, again, I think I've stated very clearly what the president's position is. What you're asking me is a legal question. I'd point you to the Department of Justice, and if there's anything more we can provide from here, I'm happy to provide it.
My second question, President Biden yesterday, responding to the George Floyd case verdict, said that George Floyd's death, quote, ripped the blinders off for the whole world to see the systemic racism in the United States. But he's an architect of multiple federal laws in the 1980s and 90s that disproportionately jailed black people and contributed to what many people see as systemic racism. The activist Cornel West said that Biden was, quote, one of the core architects of mass incarceration, and that, quote, I think Biden is going to have to take responsibility and acknowledge the contribution he made to mass incarceration. To what extent does President Biden acknowledge his own role in systemic racism, and how does that inform his current policy positions?
Well, I would say that one of the president's core objectives is addressing racial injustice in this country, not just through his rhetoric, but through his actions. And what anyone should look to is his advocacy for passing the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, for nominating leaders to the Department of Justice to address long outdated policies, and to ask his leadership team here in the White House to prioritize these issues in his presidency, which is current and today and not from 30 years ago.
Does he believe it's important to accept his own culpability?
I think I've answered your question. Go ahead.